This is Automotive Advertising with your host, Jim Flint.
Hi, Jim Flint here today with Chris Wohrer. We're happy to discuss with him in this second season of the Automotive Advertising Podcast with Jim Flint the concept of creativity. So we're going to work into the 7 C's, not the 7 C's like out there when you're on the ocean.
Yeah.
Right, but we're going to talk about the 7 C's of creativity. And since your name is Chris, right?
That's the first one,
That's
right?
the first C. So we're gonna talk a little bit about yourself. I'd like you to talk a little bit about yourself and tell the audience, the listeners out there, what it is that you do and how you're very involved in the creative process.
Oh,
when
for
I think
sure,
creative,
for
I think
sure.
of you, especially in the Houston, Texas, if not Texas area. You work throughout the U.S., probably international. Tell us more.
Okay.
Why do I think of Chris when I think of creativity?
Well, we're a video production company, an audio production company here at Moffitt Productions.
Yeah.
And so we deal with a lot of different types of clients, from car dealers and automotive to retail establishments to corporate brands. So our creative style is kind of influenced by a lot of different inputs. And we have a long history of writing a lot of scripts, a lot of creative concepts. We work with agencies directly. We work with clients directly. So we've kind of well-versed in every medium and every different style out there.
Yeah, you've grown up in the business, literally, right?
Yeah. So my dad started the company in 1988.
Okay.
My first job was being in a Splashtown commercial.
Okay,
which was,
wow, you were
you
were talent.
Which was the best because I got to get the whole school out of school for a day, and we got to go ride all the rides at Splashtown. I was like the king of elementary school.
What grade were you in? Do you remember?
Third grade.
Third grade. So 8 or 9 years old, right?
Yeah,
and you're like, hey guys, let's go to the Splashtown.
Oh yeah, and Space Rapids had just opened up. That's what we made the commercial for. So like everybody was getting to ride this ride that nobody was going to get to ride for 3 months. I mean, it was epic.
Did you make it through Final Cut? Were you actually in the film?
I was.
Commercial spot?
Me and my brother Jeff, we were going down the slide in astronaut gear, and then all of a sudden it clipped, and we were in our swimsuits in a tube heading down the slide.
Having a great time.
Yeah,
right. The fun started
amazing.
back then.
Yeah.
Still have fun today.
So but then from there I just started working summer jobs and.
Well, let's hold on. My, unscripted, this whole thing.
Yeah.
But we've been working together for a few years. If I remember correctly, you kind of took over the business circa 2008, 2009?
Yep, that's correct.
In the middle of...
A lot. In the middle of a lot. So...
Did that teach you how to be creative?
It did.
How to be resourceful, right?
We had to be extremely resourceful. And I mean, resourcefulness and creative they kind of go hand in hand, where they say necessity is the mother of all invention.
Oh, yeah.
And so I feel like that was the perfect description of what we went through. Our dad was stepping away from the business, and he was going to shut it down. And Jeff and I were just young and dumb enough to say, what are you doing, man? We can handle this. We got this. We're all good. And sometimes that blind faith and ignorance just can propel you to all kinds of cool places.
Yeah, and you guys have helped clients get propelled to new places. I think, having started Local Search Group about the same time, right? And now it's 10 years later, and if you're listening on the Apple iTunes, you may not see the video, but if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that we have some new things 10 years later that we bring to the table, including like face masks. I've got the clear if you need any.
Oh yeah, I'll take some
stuff.
of that.
We'll get you. Make sure you're fully sanitized.
You're a fancy flyer, huh?
I am, man. Yeah, no, you got to still go see the clients in our neck of the woods.
Oh, for sure.
And so I was out yesterday seeing a few, and things have changed over the last 10 years. You have to get more creative now in terms of how you communicate. The other thing that I think has happened is things are so much faster than they were before. I mean, they used to be fast, and that is one of the things when I got into the business 10 years ago, we wanted to be a now part of a now business. You are incredibly fast, and your turnaround times are exponential when compared to other production houses. How do you manage that creative process with the speed requirements?
Well, I mean, I think first of all, it's about having a process. Like if you have a process that you can execute, you can find out how to make it faster and faster. And I think really, I don't know how much the speed has changed in the work. I think the speed has changed with people's expectations. I mean, like they're just consuming so much content all the time that they have another idea before their first one's done. So they're just constantly requesting something newer and fresher. And so it really adds a lot of pressure, but we don't really flinch at it because we have those processes in place. We know how, when someone comes to us with an idea, how to take that idea and, spit it back at them, get it approved, and move on to the next step.
Right. And sleep is optional, right? We're coming in this morning. I landed on a flight from California last night, closer to 9 o'clock, which was really, and I'm up till midnight. And I thought I had a rough day because I spent 8 hours on a plane with 2 connecting flights. But you apparently had no sleep.
No sleep. No, I'm on 28 hours, I think, right now. Okay. 28 hours awake.
And you said it was like an IT problem, but I'm assuming this is you trying to get the content for video.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So we have a backup system, and that backup system is there in case you need it. And you don't ever want to need it because it's extremely painful to have to restore everything you need. And so we have a lot of clients right now. It's incentive time. Everybody needs their spots, and they need them uploaded before the end of today so they can make their runs on Monday. And so we spent the last, 2 or 3 days just restoring assets so we could get everybody up on the air. And sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, we were talking to our team. We are feeling like the launch of this particular month happened mid-month because as you close out holiday weekends, that is a reset.
Oh, yeah.
And so that, we can see these things coming. And so a lot of it involves preparation. I think more of it involves purpose. Right? Because when you know what you're in it for and what is motivating you to do that, you can produce exceptional work. Mm-hmm. Right? So when you think about creativity and your purpose, what is it that drives you creatively?
I want to make something new.
Okay.
So I think one of the things that helped me early on is I want to make the project I do now my best project yet. So we're constantly trying to be better every single time.
Innovate.
And yeah. And really, it's not always about recreating the wheels, just saying okay, this wheel looked like this. Let's make this one a little rounder. Let's make this one a little more streamlined. Let's make this one a little bit better. And I always look for inspiration. And I say, I like that about that. So my next opportunity I have, I'm going to try to use that ingredient. Okay. And like any artist, I feel like it's about learning the different ways to use the brush. And then once you know 500 ways to use the brush, you can combine that in a million different ways.
Okay, so you brought something to my mind, the way you said that. I use the word innovation. It's almost become cliche. So I'm gonna put that a different spin based on what you said. What is it that inspires you, right? Where do you go for inspiration in the creative realm? Are there things that are tried and true that you can go back to and say, I want to look at this, I want to look at that to help inspire me to do these things at a higher level? Because when you're talking about continuous improvement, that's a pattern that includes failure.
Oh yeah.
But yields success.
Yep.
And so knowing that you're going to run into those issues from time to time, right? How do you continue to stay inspired?
Well, first of all, we always look at what is the best stuff that's out there for commercials, because we make a lot of commercials.
Yes.
So what are the best commercials? What kind of ingredients are in those commercials? What are the elements? Okay. And we look at those and we try to use those same ingredients. It's a filet mignon's good, right? So let's use some of that. And then besides that, our world is so rich with design. Look at your phone. It's or your computer here. It's beautifully designed. You look at your car, the textures, the housing, the architecture, even in bags and tags and labels, the cover design of your book. We are inundated by quality design everywhere. Now, there's also a lot of really bad design, but you can draw inspiration, from all kinds of things. And I just look for that and say, I like that, and I'll try to do something with it.
Speaking of, it's a good time for a quick paid political advertisement for one of the best planned and polished books of all time, but one of the worst titles. Right, that's right, 2020 Vision. It's funny because we released this at the end of 2019. It's actionable insights for digital retailers. It's all about change and things, and really it turned into so much change.
Well,
this
yeah,
year.
this is perfect time for it, right?
Yes.
We're addressing change, and this is the biggest year on record, I feel like.
But the book that continues to march on, that I'm serious, that outsells this
The
one,
slow
even
and
though it's
steady.
more recent and more relevant, I would dare say. People are not interested in 2020 anything.
No.
They're definitely interested in car dogs, right? In millionaires.
It reminds us
Cars,
of a better time.
Dogs, millionaires. That is the creative solution. 2020, not so much.
No.
Could have been 2020 virus. I don't know, something different. But it continues to march on. And of course, there are cars on the front, right?
There are, yeah.
We're definitely in the automotive space. You also do things outside of automotive, though, too, I take it.
Yes, we do. I mean, automotive is a huge focus for us, and we've gravitated towards it because, one, I like cars.
Sure.
I like the whole, automotive experience. And, dealers are fun to be around. These are guys that are motivated to work hard and be the best. That resonates with me.
Okay.
So we've always gravitated towards it, but we do like other stuff outside of it. There is there's sometimes more grand vision outside of automotive and more creative opportunities. So we find ourselves in those arenas as well.
Yeah, I think automotive, a lot of times you find yourself reinventing yourself each month or launching a vehicle. So those vehicle launches kind of expand the brand and drive more creative elements. But when you look at the event messaging that we often work for our clients on, it helps to look at how to reinvent the process there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tried and true concepts, and you can't blame dealers for wanting to I guess reuse a lot of these incentives and these reasons to buy. Because they do have appeal to audiences, but everything is in 30-day cycles in this environment. And so it can seem repetitive in a lot of ways because I might do a trade-in spot for you in March, but then I'm doing a trade-in spot for somebody else in August. And then, it's just these concepts kind of keep coming up.
All right, so and to stay with our 7 C's and to kind of close out this segment, right, our first podcast on the 7 C's of creativity, let's bring in another C that's really shaped the dynamic, COVID.
Yeah.
Have you seen that generate new creative concepts in terms of how dealers are relating to consumers, or was it something that seemed like it was going to be a big deal that really hasn't carried into a way of doing business differently? Has it transformed?
I think both things are true. There's
Okay.
dealers that don't have that ability to speak as candidly with customers, or the customers aren't willing to listen because they don't have that reputation.
Okay.
And there's other dealerships that they have a reputation and customers trust them. And when they come out and they make messaging about home delivery or, we'll deliver for a test drive or some of these, other items that are coming out, people are responsive to that. And so I think both are true. But it has provided a humongous opportunity. I mean, everybody has been looking for a true online car selling opportunity, experience or opportunity, yeah. And there's always been some red tape in the way. And that has
Called
been
the F&I department, by the way. But yeah, understood.
So it's been bulldozed to some degree, and now the ability for someone to go on your website and shop and click add to cart and buy a car is become a lot closer. I wouldn't say it's all the way there, but it's gotten a lot closer.
And I think that's a huge takeaway to close out our session with Chris, is that the connectivity to the consumer really drives the creativity. And if we were playing a drinking game, I would be all over the C words, right? And we're going to continue on with future podcasts. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Jim, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Automotive Advertising Podcast. If you have any questions for Jim or would like to be a guest on the show, please email podcast@localsearchgroup.com.